definition of entrepreneurship from Cal State San Bernardino's perspective. So we view entrepreneurship as the pursuit of opportunity without regard to resources control. That's borrowed from Howard Stevenson at Harvard. It encapsulates how we view entrepreneurship. The idea that it's about pursuing opportunities, it involves innovation, but ultimately entrepreneurship, and because the definition doesn't talk about starting a business, it involves this idea that entrepreneurship can take place in just about any context. So we broaden the scope to say, there's people starting new ventures, but there's also people in organizations, what we would call entrepreneurs, driving progress forward and innovation. So we view it as both a mindset and a set of competencies that can really be developed and deployed in just about any setting. If we look at the Riverside and San Bernardino counties, and we use the most recent economic census data, 2018, there's over 76,000 what they call employer establishments in the Inland Empire. Those are folks that have one or more employee. And among those 76,000 establishments that we have, 97% of those have less than 100 employees. So they're all smaller, what we would consider smaller entrepreneurial firms. The other interesting number about our landscape in the Inland Empire is that we have over 300,000 what they call non-employer establishments. So those are solo individual firms, no employees, and that's a huge number. So we have a pretty robust, set of companies in the region. From our experience and what we're seeing in this process is that we do have a pretty large and diverse region with increasing resources coming into the entrepreneurial ecosystem. There's an increased awareness and interest among a lot of different players to support this idea of entrepreneurship in the region.
In the transportation sector, AWS's goal is to support the agencies tasked with moving people or things safely, efficiently, economically, and equitably. Working with customers and partners who recognize the power of cloud computing is key to their future. At AWS, this relates to our engagements with departments of transportation, traffic authorities, tollways, airports, seaports, municipal and regional planning organizations, and public transit agencies. I want to point out that the cloud is a home for entrepreneurs. With millions of active customers and tens of thousands of partners globally, AWS has the largest and most dynamic community of startups. There's a real network effect that they achieve from using AWS. Customers across virtually every industry and every size, from startups to enterprises and public sector organizations, are running every imaginable use case on AWS. 90% of what we build is driven by what customers tell us matters. And the other 10% are things we hear from customers where they may not articulate exactly what they want, but we try to read the lines and invent on their behalf. We're trying to build relationships and a business that lasts longer than all of us in this room. And you do that by doing right by customers over a long period of time. It's part of the example that we set for many of the companies who were born in the cloud and today are unicorns or very successful. The term cloud computing refers to the on-demand delivery of IT resources via the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing. Instead of buying, owning, and maintaining your own data center and servers, a big investment, organizations can acquire technologies such as compute, power, storage, databases, and other services on an as-needed basis. With the cloud, they can focus their highly valuable IT resources on developing applications that differentiate their business and transform customer experiences, instead of the undifferentiated heavy lifting of managing infrastructures and data centers. Companies like Transurban and Veritol and many others are demonstrating the value of migrating traditional and on-premises computing platforms into an entirely new generation of built-for-the-cloud solutions, growing in popularity because they answer key challenges faced by public agencies and authorities in these times. With the AWS Cloud, they are able to modernize, increase resiliency, and reduce cost with an eye on what's important today and what is needed to sustain and serve their customers over the long haul, 10, 20, or more years in the future.
Yeah, we're a German-based company, been around for more than 40 years now, just developing all sorts of equipment, trying to deliver technologically advanced subjects, just trying to make it a little bit easier for teachers, trainers, students to understand what some of the systems are that they're working with. So if we look at training, and this is not just for automotive training, but for all apprenticeships, and here in Germany, there's over 300 trades that fall under the apprenticeship model. You actually start your job first, and then you begin the training. And the effect of that is you're actually paid to learn and paid to train as well. I think there's a chance to start fresh with some of the what we call the digital natives. So people that are not so much set in their ways. This is going to be kind of first-hand knowledge for them to understand these complex systems. So I think that's definitely a good thing. And obviously, we want those people to be confident and in their abilities and what they're learning, that they understand what they're doing. So developing them so that they go on to create new businesses, and maybe hopefully they come on to become the experts, the go-to experts for these specialized fields.
Token Transit is really focused on making transit better through payments. And what that means is that, a lot of times people think of paying for your fare to get on public transit as a barrier or a challenge. And we thought, well, actually, we think we can make the transit experience better through payments. And what does that mean? Our thought was, how can we make it easier for people to pay for transit, but also easier for people to get transit passes sent to them by employers or social service agencies, or being able to look up in an app where the bus is and also buy their bus pass. How can we speed up boarding times and make it faster for drivers to verify passes? So Token Transit, again, very simple, lets you buy bus passes on your phone. As you can see here, you can select many different agencies. It's an app. We work with Omnitrans, so you can purchase Omnitrans passes on your phone. You can also purchase Riverside passes on your phone. So Sunline Transit, Big Bear Transit. Many of the local agencies, you can use Token Transit to purchase your transit passes, and then you can show your ticket to the bus driver when you're boarding. It's a visual moving ticket. It has some pulsing colors, and so the drivers know it's valid. They're all sharing this Token Transit app rather than going and building their own specific transit agency apps one by one, where it's a lot more difficult to update it. So a key theme here that we learned is that by sharing one app across many different agencies, we're able to, for no extra cost, share new features as they come out. I mentioned we got started in Reno a long time ago. That was our first agency. We're now working with over 100 agencies, large and small, across 36 states and in Canada. And it's worth noting that Omnitrans was one of our first partners as well. And really what I wanted to touch on today, since this is kind of going back to the theme, is what we've learned as entrepreneurs. And these are kind of 4 points or recommendations I'd like to highlight. One is just to pick up the phone. I think a lot of times people who want to get started, they don't know where to start. They're not sure kind of what questions to ask. We called over 200 transit agencies and spent months talking to them about what problems they faced with fare collection. Second is finding partners who believe in your vision. So we started working with small transit agencies who were excited about Token Transit. My third point, which is how important it is to just launch a product and iterate and build off of it. And so don't concern yourself with building the perfect product right away. Find the partners who are excited about your vision, partner with them, get something out there, and then learn and improve and build on it. A lot of times people are trying to focus on the perfect thing with the perfect partner right away, and they never get it off the ground. They never get something started. And then lastly, I think one of the most important things for any entrepreneur, but especially in the transit space, is using the products that you work on. And I can't stress this enough. And I also see a lot of products that are failing because people don't use them. But we are public transit riders. That's why we started this company. That's why we work on it every day. We've never owned cars. We take buses That's what we do. And this is essential for us because payments were a problem that we faced. And so using public transit, struggling to pay for it and thinking about it and coming up with ways to improve it is really important for token transit, because that allows us to empathize with the other riders, to understand the problems that we face, and to understand where transit agencies are coming from.